Hi everyone, this is Vicki, and I'm here today to show you how to get started on assignment 8, which is the icon assignment. I'm hoping that this will help those who don't have the textbook, classroom in a book, or just really don't have a handle on how to work with custom shapes, and the other vector tools inside Adobe Photoshop. So let's get started. I'm going to go ahead and open a new file, and it really doesn't matter what your size is. I'm just going to go with a web minimum because it's the right resolution, and so I'll just pick that default. The only thing you want to make sure of is you really don't need artboards for this, so you can go ahead and uncheck artboards, and then you just want to probably decide whether you want the orientation landscape or portrait. I'm just going to leave it at landscape and then go ahead and create. I'll zoom in or fit to screen. And this is really just the blank canvas for me to work on. All of my shapes and everything are going to be built up on layers, and I won't even need this background at the end, but it does give me a nice white surface to work against, like a piece of paper. So our icons are the size we've determined that we need for our project is 64 pixels by 64. That's pretty small. You may want to work at that size, and the benefits of working at the size that you're going to be viewing those pixels is that you won't be tempted to put in too much detail. So I'll show you how to get started on that, and then I'll show you another way of working. So I'm just going to choose the rounded rectangle tool and pick a color. I'm going to go with this dark red for my fill. I have it set to shape, and I don't have any stroke on it right now. Actually, maybe I'll add a small stroke on a slightly different color. Now I'm going to just click on the screen and hold down the Shift key, which keeps everything a perfect square or circle. And I'm just going to start drawing out until I see that I get to 64 by 64. Then I'm going to release the mouse, and I have my icon, the base of my icon. You'll notice that it's on its own layer, and it's in the color that I chose with the fill and the stroke. I'm going to add a second element here, but first, if I just change the color and start to draw, it's going to change the color of this first square that I've drawn, and I don't want that. So to prevent that, I'm going to click over here in my layers panel to sort of set that shape as it is, and then I'll change my fill color, and I'm going to go to this lighter pink color, and I'm going to go ahead and take off the stroke. And then I'll go down here to my shapes, and I will choose a different tool. I have the polygon tool chosen. Notice up here I have my fill and my stroke set. I can also decide how many sides I want. I've set this at 6, but you can have it 8-sided, you can have a triangle if you choose 3 sides, you can have a square if you choose 4 sides, and so on. I'm going to leave it at 6, and again I'm just going to start to draw my shape. Then I can choose the move tool and kind of get that arranged inside my pixel, or excuse me, my square. Now, this is fine, but if I zoom in to work a little more closely on this, you'll see that it starts to look a little pixelated. And that may, be a little bit hard to work with. Trying to get this centered. There we go. So instead of working at this size, I'm going to show you another way to work. I'm going to go ahead and put this back at the normal size. Oops. So I was zoomed in to 500%, and now I'm just going to go back to 100%. Well, actually, I think I'll fit it on screen. So I'm at almost 200%. Before I get too far along here, I'm going to go ahead and just move these into a group, and I'm going to name that small icon. That way it's out of the way, because otherwise my layers panel here can get pretty crowded. So we'll go back to the beginning, my rounded rectangle tool. I'll reset my fill to that darker red and my stroke to that orange. And now I'm going to go ahead and just draw out a square. So I'm going to hold down the Shift key, and I'm going to draw something that's kind of big enough for me to work with. Just remember, if you do this, you want to be careful that you don't put too much detail, because icons have to be readable at a very small size. So I've clicked in my blank space down here so that I can reset my fill. I'll choose that pink color. I'll take the stroke off, and I will choose my polygon tool. I've left everything else the same. Hold down the Shift key. I'm just eyeballing this. Select my move tool, move it into place. I think I'm going to leave it this sort of, skewed. It's a little more interesting that way. So I'll apply that. And now I think I want to apply some effects to this. So I'm going to go ahead and see what a bevel and emboss looks like. And I can try an emboss. It's not too bad. Play around with these a little bit. Let's see what the pillow emboss looks like. It doesn't do anything. There's the inner bevel. There's the outer bevel. Oop, don't like that. Okay, inner bevel. So the inner bevel looks the best to me. Let's see. I'm gonna just change that lighting a little bit. Kind of want it to come from the top. There we go. It's sort of coming from right this direction. If I got it just a little bit more over. At 103, that might be about the best. Let me just put it at 100. Sorry, just messing around here a little bit. Okay, I'll go ahead and leave it like that. Oops, not 1000. We'll see what about 105. You can also play around with some of these other, the type of contour that you have, the type of shine, and see what that does for you. I kind of like that. I don't like that. I like that. And then when you get it the way you like it, you can add something else if you want. I don't think I want it floating like that, so I'm going to take that off. And then simply say OK. So I have a base for my icon, and this could be any shape. And then I have an element added on top. Now, I'm creating icons for a nature trail. So I'm going to go ahead now, click so that none of my layers are selected. And I'm going to choose another shape. from the custom shape tool. Now when I choose that, again, I get this menu up here and I can set my colors. I'm going to go ahead and set that green. And if I keep going over, I'll see that right now I have a tree shape selected. If you don't see all these shapes, then go over to the gear icon and you can go down here and you can go to nature, or you can go to shapes, or you can go to ornaments, and you can choose these. Let's choose animals. I don't think I have those on here yet. And then it wants to know if I should replace my current shapes with the shapes from animals or if I want to add them. And I want to add them, so I'm going to choose append. And now you'll see that there are some animal shapes that have been added to my shape library. And I'm going to choose one of these. I'm going to choose this bird. And then I'm going to apply the bird shape onto my icon. I'm going to go ahead and move that around till I like where it is. And then again, I can apply a couple of effects. And I think I want to drop shadow on this. Not too much. Just a little bit to raise it up a little bit. And then I think I'll try something like maybe an overlay. It's kind of cool. Just sort of play with a little bit some of these settings. You can also click on this and move your stops to change how much of that. You can even change the colors here. I like that. I just want the tips of the wings to have that color. So I'll say OK, and then I'll say OK. Now, and I think I'll arrange that just a little bit better. There we go. So I have an icon finished, and I'm pretty happy with it. This will be placed at a spot where people can look at birds. So I'm going to take all of these layers, and I'm just shift clicking the layers that are associated with this first icon, and I'm going to put them in a group. I'm going to call that bird. And then I'm going to right click on the bird group, and I'm going to duplicate the group. And I'm going to name this butterfly, because I know that my next icon is going to be a butterfly. So now I can move my bird icon to the side, and I'm going to click to activate my butterfly. And what I want to do is replace the bird with a butterfly. So I'll just turn off the eye icon. I could also discard that shape in its effects, but I want to show you what I'm going to do with that. So I'm just going to turn the eye icon off, the visibility off. I'll go back to my custom shape tool, and now I'm going to choose, I know there's a butterfly in here, so I'm going to choose that. And I'm going to draw out my butterfly. I didn't change the colors or anything, because I want there to be some cohesiveness in this icon set. Each one is a little bit different, but they all look like they belong together. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and just click on the word effects and drag that up and apply it to my butterfly. Now what I have is my second icon. So I'm going to go ahead and shift select all of the layers that are associated with my, and I could go ahead and discard this layer. It's not showing up, so for the moment I just won't mess with it. Actually, I don't even need to do that because I already have this as its own group. So I would continue to do this for 2 more times for 2 more icons. And then I'm going to be ready to export these. And I want to export them in a way that I can add this image to my Word doc that I'm preparing. So I will go ahead and right-click on the butterfly group, and I want to choose Export As. When I get the Export As window, it gives me a little preview here, and it shows me the format that I used the last time, basically. If I want this to end up as a GIF, I'll go ahead and change the settings, and you'll see that my image size is 259 pixels. I know that I need 64 pixel by 64 pixel icons, so I want to make sure that I save those in that size. So I'll go ahead and change that and look over my other settings. And then notice over here, there's a plus sign. So if I was thinking that maybe this might be needed in another size, I could go ahead and maybe save these twice as big. So I've got the first size, and then this is going to have a different suffix, and it's going to be 128 by 128 pixels. So I'll go ahead and export all, and I've created an icon folder on my desktop, and I'll choose that to save it. And then I can close, or I can reduce Photoshop. I can go to my icons folder, and there is the butterfly GIF. It looks very pixelated, but if I double click on it and it opens in preview, it opens at the correct size, which is 64 by 64, and it is not pixelated. I can view my double size icon in the same preview or in another preview window. So that's how you make and save your icons. Then to continue on, you would open up a text document in either Word or Office, Open Office or Pages, whatever text type software you use, and you would add these to your document after writing up your project. You can save these as PNGs or GIFs. You just don't want to save them as JPEGs. There's no reason to, because they're very limited in their colors, and they'll just make them a larger file size. You can see right here that these are really small files. So I hope that's helpful, and be sure to message me if you need any additional help with this project, but you have until next Monday to finish it. Thanks very much. Bye-bye.